Welcome to councillors and staff and those joining online and in the public gallery. We begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders, past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people here today. Please stand for the prayer. Almighty God, we humbly beseech your blessing on the council, direct and prosper its deliberations for the welfare of the people of the Moyne Shire. Amen. Amen. Do we have any apologies today? No apologies. Are there any declarations of interest? No. Yes, Councillor Gleeson.
Yeah, just in relation to item 2.211. Yes,
thank you, Councillor Gleeson. 2.11. Right. Confirmation of minutes. Oh, sorry.
Interest on confidential item 6.4.
Item 6.4. Farrell, thank you.
Mayor, as do I declare interest in item 6.4.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Thank you. Right, I'll call for confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of August 2024. Do we have a mover? Confirm the minutes, please. Councillor Mead. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Foster. All those in favour? All against? Carried 6-0. I call for a motion to suspend standing orders to hear the public participant. Councillor Foster. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Lockett. Thank you. I call on, I invite the public participant, Mr. Brett Gladkey, to speak. Welcome, Mr. Gladkey. You have 5 minutes and we'll give you a notice at 3 minutes, please. But wait till we get the organised. Right. Welcome, Mr. Gladkey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And firstly, I'd just like to acknowledge all the councillors in their final term and their final stages of their term in office. I've got no doubt that time's been a thankless job, but the minutes of meetings such as this probably don't really reflect their time and contribution. But good luck to everyone for re-election and for whatever else may be in place for their futures. I would like to talk in support of my planning application to excise a dwelling from my existing title of land on a small property that I own in Killarney. My wife and I purchased the property about 8 years ago. We went about rearing and fattening calves, running some sheep. We cut hay and silage to the best that our small allotment can offer. However, as farming pursuits grew, so did our family, to the point where we had small 3 children under 4 years old, living in that house right beside the highway, which was quite a small house and over 100 years old. The house became not suitable for our family, and we've persisted with tenants of various qualities and crazy land taxes since. We currently run about 100 ewes with lambs on a property available to us through family at Casterton. We bring those lambs down to Killarney in spring every year to fatten, and we sell them through to Midfield Meats as light export trade quality lambs. We cut silage and sometimes hay when the seasons permit. We do a lot ourselves and use local farmers and contractors to assist. We just love it and want to do more on a larger scale. Our sole intent in excising the house is because it's of no need to ourselves, and having it constantly rented out to tenants isn't viable, given its age and its constant maintenance it requires. With the funds from the sale of this land, we wish to purchase more farmland to allow our farming interest to grow. We have great relationships with our neighbours and have received no objections. I do acknowledge the municipal planning strategy and the policy framework of the Shire, but I genuinely believe that our unique circumstances, given our location and the industrial truck and fuel depot positioned along our boundary fence line, aligns to the fact that that we could do, in fact, what we plan to do. Section 2.03-4 of the Municipal Planning Strategy under Natural Resource Management and Agriculture states that dwellings, small lot subdivisions can sometimes genuinely be required to support agricultural production. I wholeheartedly agree that our proposal falls in line with some of these terms. I can't stress enough that our proposal doesn't propose any further development or loss of agricultural productivity. I believe concerns of fragmentation of land along
3 minutes, Mr. Gladkey. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Right.
I believe concerns of fragmentation of land along the highway are not necessary, as many houses within the vicinity already exist in that current form and have little or no association with the agriculture. In closing, Mr. Mayor, I encourage the council to see this application for what it is. There's no smoke and mirrors. In a time where we're critically short of housing, this application supports the provision of someone else having home ownership. Mr. Mayor, I travel statewide for my work and for leisure, and nothing brings me more pride than telling people, or people ask, where are you from, or where do you farm? I say Killarney. It's just a slice of heaven. You've got the Belfast Coastal Reserve, the Killarney Beach, you've got Tower Hill, you've got the amazing development that's happened in Koroit, and the planning and what's happened in the township, and it's due to the people in this room. You've got Port Fairy that offers something for everyone. It's a slice of heaven, and the easy thing for me to do would be to sell up and buy a couple of 100 acres out the back of Mindermite, but I don't want it. Like, Killarney is beautiful. It's where we love, and it's where we want our kids to enjoy this land into the future. And if we can allow another family to experience that and live in that house, or someone else to come and do the house up and bring it to its former glory, bring some more rates and that into the Shire as well. I think it's a benefit for everyone. And what we want to do isn't really out of touch with what already exists within the Killarney area. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladkey. Any questions or discussion while we have Mr. Gladkey here? Yes, councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Gladkey, for your presentation. Just a question. You plan to continue running your rams on what's left of the block?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, not only rams, we sort of keep our rams down here to keep close eye on them. We usually send them up to Caston for joining. But yeah, we will definitely be continuing with that, and purchasing the land to the back. We'll be able to run more sheep, and I'll move into cattle and things like that as well. So,
yeah. Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Your heartfelt presentation and energy is much appreciated in the chamber. Would you be willing to have a section 173 agreement placed on the property, and be you aware of what they are?
Yeah, thanks.
It could help.
Thanks, councillor Lockett. Yeah, I am aware of what they are. However, I don't think that would benefit anyone in any form. So if the house was to be excised, it would leave the remaining 13 acres as 13 acres of vacant farmland zoned in the farming area. And that's not too dissimilar to many other allotments of similar size in the vicinity. The assumption of maybe at 173 is that, you know, the land will be developed or built on in the future, and there's no basis to that. Where there is basis is the conversations that I've had with my neighbour over the back fence about purchasing his 50 acres before he offers it to anyone else. Come and see me, because that's what I want, and that's where the basis of it lies. So no, preferably not. That's 173 is not really, yeah.
Serve purpose anyway.
Any further questions?
Just some clarification. One of the concerns, obviously, of our planning office is the fragmentation of farming land. So what you've got is what you purchased. You haven't broken any of that up.
No, that's correct.
So what you've got is what's purchased.
Yes, that's correct.
Can I just get some clarification as well? Then next door to Mr. McNamara, I guess, the operations of the transport company next door, what zoning is that?
Three-minute farming zone.
Oh, so, okay, so I think we actually dealt with that previously, we've let that through and there was one other thing I wanted to find out.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, sorry, just in relation, again, to Mr McNamara, in relation to Councillor Lockett's suggested 173, if any further development was to take place, that'd have to go through the permit process, wouldn't it?
Through you, Mayor, that's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Right,
If I can just add, consolidating or joining to a rear property may not require a permit, but development.
thank you. Right, yes, councillor Dukas, then councillor.
Yeah, thank you. So congratulations on trying to buy the next door neighbour, because it's pretty tough out in that Killarney area.
It is, and a foreign name like Gladkey in amongst the mix of the,
Yeah.
few of the other names, yeah. Anyway, we're all on very good terms.
No, and they're great people. Great
Yes,
people.
yeah, absolutely,
Now, access to your property,
yes.
the one, if this goes ahead, how would you get access to the 15 acres?
Yeah, so we've-
15 acres.
Yeah, so the boundary of our property to the south is bordered by the Princes Highway. The eastern boundary is bordered by Blackwood Road Blackwood Road, which is allowed,
Yeah.
which has got access down through there. So there's already a number of gateways that I access to the paddock, depending on the time.
So you would go up the Blackwood Road to go into your place?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And one other, you talked about the house and when you were living there, etc. With the state government's rules around renting, would it be fair to say that it's not a viable option?
Correct, absolutely correct, councillor Dukas. It barely breaks even with the amount of land tax I get to pay, the interest rates, and real estate fees. It's and then given not all we've had some really good tenants there, don't get me wrong, but it's just a real headache being a landlord now and renting out houses. It's, and the age of the house, like it's an old house. It's Lenny Muggerman was born in there and he's 88, and it's beautiful features, big ceilings, and it just needs people that own it and really take care of it and live in it and look after it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Through, my question is to Mrs McNamara. It's regarding the 173 agreement, because my concern is that, yeah, obviously we've got farming either side and, well, farming one side and behind, but then we've got the transport, obviously, company next door. And if, there might be the future people down the track that, if it's sold, would a 173 agreement on this property assist in terms of farming practices and transport practices to still occur, assist with complaints and things like that?
Through you, Mayor, there is always an option by mutual agreement to put a section 173 agreement on a permit. In response to the matter of the transport site, that is also an option to acknowledge the adjoining use. Although if complaints are received in the future, oftentimes the matter still has to be resolved. The 173 doesn't have much weight in that regard.
Thank you. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Gladkey, for your presentation. So your intention is not to build on those 15 acres. Your intention as it stands today, and I'm not asking you to make promises into the future, is that you plan to use that for farming purposes.
Absolutely, yeah, 100% correct. Yes.
Zero plans for
Zero plans.
or for further subdivision, is that?
Absolutely not. No. Our sole focus is as I said, we love farming and we love our kids enjoying that type of work and that and it's there's absolutely no plan at all to develop a house or anything like that. We simply want to sell this house. It's really a thorn in our side, and someone else to take care of it and enjoy the things that we enjoy out there and live there. And as I said, I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of farmers down the back, and we just really want to get a bigger slice of the pie down there. So yeah.
Right, thank you. Any further questions, please? If not, thanks very much for your presentation, Mr. Gladkey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Look, I'll call for a motion to resume standing orders and that the order of business be changed and that item 2.8 be heard next. Yes, councillor Foster. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Mead. All those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Right, item 2.8, the planning application for 1076 Princess Highway, Killarney. I'll call on Ms McNamara, Director of Environment, Economy and Place. Ms McNamara.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this report is in relation to planning application PL 23075 for a 2-lot subdivision at 1076 Princess Highway, Killarney. Subdivision is to excise an existing dwelling from the parent title. The application or the subject site is on the northern side of the Princess Highway towards the eastern end of Killarney. Currently contains the existing dwelling and is used for agricultural purposes on the balance of the land. The application has been referred to Big Roads, who have recommended a condition which is within the report, and it was also advertised to surrounding landowners with no objections received. The officers have undertaken an assessment and the recommendation is in front of councillors for decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms McNamara. Are there any questions or discussion to Ms McNamara before I seek a seconder, mover and seconder, please? Any questions to Ms McNamara? Yes, councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Just seeking, I guess, clarifications, McNamara, and reassurance that if this went ahead, any future attempt to carve it up any further would need to come back before this council for consideration.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, councillor Foster. That is correct. And each application is taken on its merits at the time.
Thank you. Right, any further questions or discussion before I seek a mover of the motion, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder of item 2.8, please. Councillor Dukas. As mover. Do we have a seconder, please?
I'm going to move the alternative. Seconding?
I was going to say, I just wanted to clarify, councillor Dukas, the item is to.
Yeah, as soon as we get a second, I'm going to ask to move the alternate motion, which is to, yeah, well, I'll do that now then if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll move the alternate motion, which is to grant a permit.
Right, that has been moved by councillor Dukas, an alternate motion, seconded by councillor Lockett. I'll put that to the vote. Do we have a vote?
You don't need to.
Right.
Put it to the vote.
Are you going to talk to it?
Yeah, right. Councillor Dukas.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, we've heard from the applicant and I agree wholeheartedly. We've got here in our report, it talks about loss of production and fragmentation. Well, it's only a small lot, and if you look at the land around it, I don't think there'd be one lot under 40 over 40 hectares, 100 acres. If I remember correctly, I think there's only one that goes closer to Crosley, Connie Gavin's old property. And all the rest are all small lots ranging from 3 acres up to 5, 7 and 15. The applicant also said that they lived in the house and it hasn't been suitable for, a young family. And I can understand that being the case, that the house needs work, etc. Renting the house out doesn't really suffice because thanks to the Labor government, they've got all the rules and regulations. So the rent has got all the rules and regulations on his side. And it costs an absolute fortune, plus all that, like I said, the land tax and interest, etc. Selling the property would generate some income for him to pursue the 50 acres that he wishes to purchase, which indicates to me that it's a genuine application to further grow his farming enterprises. And I think this going forward to issue a notice to grant a permit would be of benefit not only to this young family, but it's benefit to the community because an agricultural pursuit is being pursued in a bigger and more vigorous way, and that's great for the economy. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor Dukas. Councillor Lockett, the seconder of the alternate motion.
Thank you, Mayor. As we heard in the presentation today, the quote from Dave Dobbin, a little slice of heaven, and I think it is a slice of heaven. And but more importantly, back to planning regulations. I was concerned about this application, but from a very good presentation today, we've heard that it's not only going to increase farming practices, selling off the house, because it is, you know, further plans to develop or to grow out the back for farming practices. Someone else can, as Councillor Dukas has said, you know, live in that property, and there already is further some fragmentation of properties along that area. So I think with this one, there's been no objections. I'm happy to support it.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Does any councillor wish to speak for the alternate motion? Councillor Gleeson.
Thanks, Mayor. A 1 acre lot with an affordable house on it. It's just what we're crying out for. An opportunity for a young family. And I'll say this, as I've said 3 or 4 times over the last period. For me, Mr. Glaggy, it's a pity that we're not having a 1 acre lot subdivision. You know, and that would really make everyone crabby. But you talked about what a great environment is. We've created a spot for a young family who can look over the fence and hopefully enjoy your property as much as you do and share the fun with your kids. So it's a really great opportunity for an affordable home for some young people.
Well, thank you, councillor Gleeson. Councillor Mead to speak for the alternative motion.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Happy to support it for the reasons mentioned and because there's no further loss of agricultural land in my opinion, this particular application. And as there was no objections, I'm happy to support the alternate motion for approval.
Thank you, councillor Mead. Yes, councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. I really feel uncomfortable about making decisions by exception when we've got a set of rules. However, I think this is an exceptional set of circumstances, and it is a unique situation, given that there are no objections, given that we're keeping the productive agricultural land portion. I'm happy to support in this instance.
Thank you, councillor Foster. Well, I'll be supporting the alternate motion, so I think there's nobody to vote against the talk against the motion. So I'll put the alternate motion to the vote. Those in favour. Oh, sorry, councillor Dukas.
Yeah,
Do you want to?
don't do in the action, you know, of time, but I'd just like to say that the Shire is always about affordable housing. Councillor Gleeson pointed out this is an affordable house. There's a double win here, one for someone to get a house and one for this young family to obtain a few funds and hopefully get that 50 acres next to them to grow their farm. So it's a win-win as long as everybody votes in the affirmative in this, of course. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Dukas. I'll put item 2.8, the alternate motion, to the vote. Those in. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, just point it more. We might just read through that alternate motion just clearly before we vote.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You want me to read?
Yes, please.
Fair enough. The council, having caused notice of planning application number PL 23/075 to be given under section 52 of the Planning and Environment Act 1987. That could do with the tidy up, and all the planning scheme, and having considered all the matters required under section 60 of the Planning and Environment Act of 1987, decides to issue a notice to grant a permit under the provisions of the Moyne planning scheme in respect of the land known and described as 1076 or 1076 Princess Highway, Killarney, lot 28, PL 0537, for a 2-lot subdivision of the land, house excision, subject to the following conditions, of which there are bloody heck. Yeah, 16 with a footnote. Correct, McNamara? Thank you.
Thank you, councillor.
Just to correct the record, I'm sure the meaning was for councillor Dukas that it was lot 28 LP 0537. So
What do I say?
may have said PL. But just to clarify.
PL.
Yeah, you better get it right, because we're on tape.
It's got PL on our running.
I had to be caught out the last council meeting, so was that wrong?
Right, thank you, councillor Dukas. I'll put the alternative motion to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried, 6-0. Thank you. Would somebody like to move that we resume standing orders? Did we?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. All over the place.
That's okay. We can go straight to 2.1.
2.1. Thank you. Right, the monthly finance report. I'll call on the Director of Corporate and Governance, Mr. Small.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is our regular monthly report on finances. In this agenda, it's one of 2 reports. The first being the report for the month of August, and the second one being next meeting, which is a wrap up of the financial year previously. The monthly results are tracking online. The only thing I'd like to draw to your attention is that an observer would see on page 40 that our working capital is down from the prior year. And this is because of the fact that we've actually had less rollover of uncompleted works in the previous year. So there's less cash on hand. So that's a good outcome.
Right, thank you, Mr. Small. Are there any questions or discussion on the monthly finance report?
Just a comment,
Yes.
if I may. We know that we're going through some tough times, so there's been a little bit of an increase in the rates outstanding. Without labouring or harbouring, and I'd just like to make sure that we're understanding of that situation because of the economic times we're in. So it'll be, I know it'll be addressed, but it'd be good if we were just understand. So, thank you.
Right, any further questions or discussion, please? If,
Could I just ask, just for a comment on, I suppose a little bit of a, oh no, I'll leave it till the next item. Okay, thank you.
thank you, councillor Gleeson. If there's no more questions or discussion to Mr. Small, I'll seek a mover of item 2 and seconder of item 2.1, the monthly finance report. Councillor Mead, mover, and councillor Gleeson as seconder. Councillor Mead as mover of the motion, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thanks, Mr. Small, for presenting. Yeah, once again, it's been laid out there in front of us to see that we're in a sound financial position. I think that that's because of conservative budgeting from this council and previous councils. And I just want to highlight one point there is a really important figure to note as we finalise this term is the roughly $3 million cash surplus that's been accumulated over several years, which is there for use for councillors to decide on by majority for any particular purpose which may come up. And that the importance of that figure there that is set aside, or you might say it's a reserve. I'll give an example of the St. Patrick's Day fires back in 2018 when that went through the Garlock area, and the works team came to us and said, we've got to go through and help these farmers that have been affected. And we had a sound, healthy balance there to immediately say, here's 400 or 500 straight away just to get to it and help those farmers. So that is a really important figure there. So I'm really pleased to be able to leave that to the next council to be able to inherit that reserve there to use for worthy purposes, just like the one I gave the example of. So yeah, I think that's a good result to be in that position.
Thank you, councillor Mead. Councillor Gleeson, the seconder of the motion.
Routine report, over the last 4 years, it's a monthly thing, it tells us where we're at, and it's appreciated, and all the work that you and your team do, Ed, just to make sure that we are where we should be, and we're reiterate councillor Mead's comments, in really trying times, we've been able to be very, very, prudent, I think. So, well done.
Thank you, councillor Gleeson. Does any councillor wish to speak? Councillor Foster.
Thank you, thank you, Mayor. Kind of voice today. I just want to also point out, I haven't got the figure in front of me now, but the rollover of unspent funds has significantly reduced this year, and that's great news because it basically means we're getting stuff done. So I think that's something to acknowledge as well for our team.
Right, thank you, councillor Foster. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Does any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Mead as mover of the motion. Councillor Mead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And thanks also to Mr. Elson, the finance manager, who has done a great job looking after this area in his department for many years now. So happy to recommend the motion to.
Thank you, councillor Mead. I'll put item 2.1 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Move on to item 2.2, the financial report for 2023-2024. Again, Mr. Small.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is the where we talk about the rolled over capital, which Councillor Foster referred to earlier. Basically, this report comprises 2 elements. One is the wrap up of the 23-24 financial year, and the second is to talk about the rollover of the unspent funds. I'll talk about the last one first. We end of June 23, we rolled over about $10 million of capital works. And this year the figure is only $3 million. So therefore it just shows how we've caught up with our capital works program. And so we've got a list attached of the projects we're intending to roll over. This is a report we present to the council each year. And other than that, I just wanted to talk about the reconciliation between the financial statements which the council looked at in July and the ones that were reviewed by the audit committee, and then the favourable variance of going favourable to 1.4 million to the operating second. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any questions? Yes, councillor Mead.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Perhaps one for Ms. Farrell. Ms. Farrell, after going through these carryovers, the ones that were not completed last year, we're confident that the high majority will be completed this year?
Yes, so through the Mayor, yes, we are. We went through in detail with staff each individual item, and some were planned carryovers in terms of, project grants and just the sequencing of work, but we're confident that the ones on that list will be done.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Gleeson?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Just maybe for Mr. Small, a comment on trying, when people hear operational deficit of 6.5 million, there's a bit of what's going on. There's been some transfer of land in relation. Could you just give us a little bit of a summary in relation to that matter?
Through the chair, thank you, Councillor. Basically, there was a couple of adjustments to these year-end results, which were sort of non-cash or timing issues. And one of them was that we transferred some land at no cost from the council to GORCAPA, Great Ocean Road Authority, because that authority took possession of a lot of Crown land along the coast, including the land controlled by the council. So that had an impact on our profit and loss. And the other, while I'm on the topic, the other impact was that, of course, at last we've sorted out the anomaly we've had of the money, the grants being received in the wrong financial year. So we didn't receive the 24-25 grant in 22-23, which was a good thing. So that basically we ended up with, though we made a large loss last year, this going forward, our accounts will be in balance. So that's very helpful. So we've got $10 million coming through in the correct financial year, which is very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions or discussion to Mr. Small? If not, I'll seek a mover and
Just one, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor,
sorry.
thank you.
councillor Duke.
It's a small, on page 67 on the hard copy, oh, you got a hard copy? Down the bottom, capital expenditure program will increase by 3,047,000. So that's on top of what we budgeted for in capital works.
That is correct, through the chair, that's correct, councillor, yes.
So if Miss Farrell's team go ahead as they do and get everything done on time and on budget, the Shire would have an increase of $3 million worth of capital works, which could amount to anything. As in capital works, it could be anything, it could be fixing this or fixing that or building something new.
But,
Could I respond?
yes,
Yes.
It's the 3 million relates to the money, the unfunded, uncompleted projects that we're rolling over. So that's the additional capital work. So we put a budget for 24-25, thinking would complete this $3 million worth of work in 22, 23, 24, but we didn't actually have it all completed in time. So we're rolling it over the next financial year. So there'll be an additional 3 million to be done, but this is, it's clearly itemized what it is.
So further to Councillor Duke's inquiry, that money's funds have already been allocated.
That's correct.
Right, so on page 72, I'm looking at, and when we discussed the workshop, it was only 2.6 carryover. So that's income.
Yeah, this, Chair, there's
Yes.
3 columns there, income, expenditure and net. And we're talking at the moment on the capital expenditure of $3 million. It hasn't changed, I believe, from earlier discussions we've had.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you. Any more questions or discussion with Mr. Small before I seek a mover and seconder, please? If not, do we have a mover and seconder of item 2.2, the financial report for 2023/2024? Do we have a mover, please? Councillor Gleeson. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Mead. Councillor Gleeson as mover of the motion, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to reinforce the comments from the previous report, and that's where I was going with that, Councillor Mead, as far as this really reflects over the last 4 years, the tight, I think for a better word, financial management, and which is really important for the new council coming in. Some of the challenges you face that you don't know you're going to face, transfer of land to Gore Capita, and for those that are interested, that was the Peterborough Caravan Park and the Peterborough Golf Course. So that was some land that was taken away from our control, which affects us because there was some significant revenue attached. Going forward, you mentioned that the grants are now in the right year, and that should be a really positive thing or less challenging for you guys in the way that you present your reports, because it's all relevant and pertinent to the current financial year. So again, I thank you for your work and happy to endorse this report.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Mead as seconder of the motion.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Just to add on that carryover list of projects, there's a couple there that have already begun, and obviously we'll be finishing this financial year with the remainder of those funds. And just like to highlight the Panmure Lang Road renewal works there that has come up really well, and good job for the team to be able to get that done, or getting it done, nearly finished. Great use for a road that much needed improvement.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Does any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll call on Councillor Gleeson as mover of the motion.
No need, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put item number 2.2 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Move on to item 2.3. Moyne, My Future 2040 Community Vision Progress Update. Mr. Small again.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, as you're aware, we adopted a community vision in 2021, and that contains a number of pillars and activities. And what we try and do every year is report back against progress made against the vision. And this information that we're presenting here will be summarised into the council's annual report. So it's just a more detailed explanation of what we intended to put in the financial annual report, setting out what we've achieved against the pillars over the last few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any questions or discussion on item 2.3, please? Yes, councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor. Just to clarify, Mr. Small, this is a plan that is mandated by the Local Government Act.
Chair, that's correct, councillor Foster.
Thank you. And can you tell us how it differs? Because we all know we have a council plan, which is essentially our strategic plan that guides our activities. This one sort of sits alongside that, just for people who may not be sure how they work together or what. Can you give us a bit of a high level summary, please?
Through the chair, thank you, councillor Foster. Basically, what they have in mind in the legislation is we have a vision created by the community, which helps inform the council's plan. So you get some general feedback from the community as to what high-level areas of attention you want to look at. And then we try and see how that would fit in with the council's plan. There should be some reconciliation between the two. We've obviously been able to do that very successfully over the last few years. This is indicating how we've been progressing it.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any further questions or discussion, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder of item 2.3, Moyne, My Future 2040 Community Vision. Do we have a mover and seconder there, please? Moved by councillor Lockett, seconded by councillor Foster. Councillor Lockett, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a good catchy title, My Moyne, My Future. And it's a tricky one because obviously we have a council selected by the people, and then we also have the community's vision, which we have to kind of tie up with the council plan. So I think it's I think there's many fantastic ideas in there, but it's a tricky one to kind of balance. And as you said before, we're mandated to do this, but hopefully we can, and the new council, where they are, can fulfill that and continue that vision heading in the right direction.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Councillor Foster, a seconder of the motion, please.
Thanks, Mayor. I guess I'd like to take opportunity to thank the 320 or so people who helped to shape this vision. And I hope they get an opportunity to read this report and realise the work that's been done and the things that have been ticked off, because there has been significant work in the last 4 years. But it is a good chance for the new council coming in to look at this and to use this as the foundation for its own strategic planning. So,
thank you, councillor Foster. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Does any councillor?
Just to support the comments, it's My Moyne, My Future 2020 to 2040. So you're looking a long way ahead. So the challenge now for the new council is to put in place their plans for the next 4 years, but to really be conscious of the needs and the requirements and the requests and the asks of the ratepayers as well. So it gives them that opportunity. And thanks to Mr. Gladkey, I'm going to highlight here that one of our pillars is access to affordable housing. So well played.
Thank you, councillor Gleeson. Does any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Long as mover of the motion, please.
Thank you, Mayor. No further need.
I'll put item number 2.3 to the vote. Those in favour, for. Again, carried 6-0. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item 2.4, the proposed road deviation and discontinuance of Colton Road in Hawkesdale. Again, Mr. Small.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, if you look at page 106, it illustrates quite clearly what we're trying to do with this report. We've got a road reservation running through the middle of a rural property, and down the side of the property, not where the road reservation is another road which is used, but it's actually not used technically correctly. So what the landowner is proposing to us is to swap the road reservation area with the area that's used as a road, and he's happy to contribute to the council's costs to do so. So we've got a report here recommending that we go to advertise the public notice of intention to deviate the one road and to also to have a road discontinuation for the other road. So that's what we're advertising here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Are there any, is there any questions or discussion on item 2.4, please? Yes, councillor
Just a
Gleeson.
clarification, thanks from Mr. Small. Given that there's boundaries and other roads associated, are any of the neighbours affected by this proposal?
Through the mayor, looking at the map, I don't believe any neighbours would be directly affected because the land is really contained. The areas we are talking about are contained on the current property, and also the road that's currently in use is already in use. So it's any implication for the neighbours already there.
Yep.
There is no new implications.
And so the proposed swap of pathways is in favour of council, in fact, isn't it, too? Is it about 2,000, like a half an acre or whatever?
That's correct.
Yeah. And the proponent wishes or is happy to share costs.
That's correct.
Right, thank you. Any further questions to Mr. Small on item 2.4, please? If not, do we have a mover and seconder of item 2.4, please? Moved by councillor Dukas. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Dukas has moved.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been done to death during the workshops. We all know what's going on here. It's something that should have been done, I think, years ago. It's a bit of a tidy up. It gives surety to the Shire in regards to roads and the landowner, the owner of the farm, that once this goes through, that everybody knows exactly who owns what and where, and the outcome would be a benefit not only to the Shire but to the farmer involved. So hopefully through public consultation there won't be any hiccups, but dealing with the government, who knows? So hopefully it goes through nice and easy.
Thank you, councillor Dukas. Councillor Gleeson.
Thanks, Mayor, given that Mr. Smalls, responded to all my concerns, happy to support this, as I have for 4 years. I always agree with councillor Dukas, so today should be no reason to differ.
Well, we all.
That's
Thank
right.
you, councillor Gleeson. Right, does any councillor wish to speak for the motion, please? Does any councillor wish to speak against the motion, please? Councillor Dukas has moved to the motion.
Just a formality in tidying up an anomaly out there in Hawkesdale.
Right, thank you, councillor Dukas. I'll put item 2.4 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item 2.5, which is extension of leasing arrangements with Gore Kappa. Mr. Small again.
Thank you, councillors. This is actually touching on some of the land that councillor Gleeson mentioned earlier. When Gore Kappa took over the coastal land that council was responsible previously, it picked up the Peterborough Caravan Park. Adjacent to that are 2 of the council's pieces of land, which are currently incorporated into the caravan park. Those 2 pieces of land are currently under a memorandum of understanding with Gore Kappa, and there's a discussion with us now to extend that for another until the 31st of August 2025 to align that with their negotiations with the tenant for the whole area.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Right, any questions? Yes, councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Just for Mr. Small, the lessees of the caravan park are on board with this proposal.
Through the mayor, yes, they are, councillor Mead.
Thank you.
Right, any further questions on item 2.5?
Just
Councillor Gleeson.
if I just may, is there any explanation for why the lease can't be put in place as of when it should have been put in place? There may not be.
Councillor Gleeson, I assume you're assuming with the lease with the Gore Kappa and the tenant.
100%.
I think they're just going more slowly than they had originally anticipated.
So if we are to agree to extend the lease, does the tenant have any guarantees that their lease will be extended?
Councillor, Through the mayor, councillor Leeson, at this point, there are no guarantees, but the lessee thinks that the arrangements are progressing well.
Okay, I just want to make one final point. You know, we've tried to resolve this for some time now, and through no fault of councils, there's no lease in place. So I'll reluctantly support it. We need to try and be conscious of the needs of the lessee, and hopefully that can be put in place sooner rather than later.
Right, councillor Dukas.
Yeah, thank you to Mr. Small. Mr. Small, I thought during discussions that our parcels, or those two lots that belong to the Shire, that are to be leased to Gore Kappa, that we would only do so on the proviso that the caravan park operators are happy with things going forward. So if they don't go ahead with it, we don't go ahead with it. We're not going to turn around and lease it to Gore Kappa and find out that they've shafted the caravan park operators.
Through the chair, councillor, what we were doing is extending the current MOU for another 8 months. At that point, also 10 months. At that point, we'll bring it back to council as to what to undertake next.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any further questions or discussion on item 2.5? If not, I'll seek an item, mover and seconder for item 2.5, the extension of the leasing arrangements with Gore Kappa. Do we have a mover, please? Councillor Mead. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor, calling for a seconder. Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Mead, as mover, please.
Yes, Mayor. Look, yeah. Happy to move the officer's recommendation here, not with a huge amount of enthusiasm, because all the way through, I've been concerned with the way Gore Kappa have gone about their land acquisitions and lease negotiations, etc. So probably doing this in light of the fact that the provider down there at the caravan park is in agreement with this, because it is a fantastic business down there for Peterborough and Great Ocean Road Tourist Park, it's called. It's great for the town and to have that option in, and they do a fantastic job as caravan park operators. So basically we're supporting this motion in support of them and the work they do.
Thank you, councillor Mead. Councillor Gleeson, a seconder, please.
Well, it's sort of like meatloaf, really. He just took the words right out of my mouth. My whole concern in relation to this whole matter has been for the future of the tenants. You know, they've done an enormous job, and not only that, not only good for Peter, it's good for the Moyne Shire. It's a caravan park that has been so strongly supported over the years on the back of the tenants that are there, on the back of the investment from the Moyne Shire into the camp kitchen and other amenities that we were not compensated for as a part of the takeover. And so I support Daniel Councillor Mead very, very much in saying that we want this in place so that you can now, in goodwill, good faith, negotiate with the tenants and give them the long lease that they deserve. So
thank you, councillor Gleeson. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Mead as mover the motion, please. Councillor Mead.
Yeah, happy to move on from there and put to the vote. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Mead. I'll put item 2.5 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. We'll move now on to item 2.6, the Chief Executive Officer Employment and Remuneration. Again, Mr. Small, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, this is a procedural report. What we're really doing is just finding a way to get the minutes of the confidential minutes of the CEO Employment and Remuneration Advisory Committee into the council. So that's probably all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any questions on item 2.6, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder, please. Do we have a mover? Councillor Foster. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Mead. Councillor Foster as mover, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It's procedural. Very happy to move the recommendation, and without disclosing any of the contents of the confidential minutes, I would just like to thank our new CEO, Mr. Everstein, for his strong start and positive energy that he's brought thus far.
Thank you, councillor Foster.
Through Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you kindly for the feedback and support from right across all councillors. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. Mr. Mead, councillor Mead has seconded the motion, please.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Look, it is important that have these meetings, and not like other councillors, we actually, I think it's important that all councillors are involved with this subcommittee of council where we can have input into this important matter. So happy to second the motion.
Yep, good. Thank you, councillor Mead. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Yeah, councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'd also concur with Councillor Foster's comments and just what a great man, great start, and look forward to, seeing how he flourishes with Moyne going forward. Thank you. Well, hopefully.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Foster as mover, please, to summarise.
Happy to put it to the vote, thanks.
Put it to the vote, councillors. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6. No, thank you. Right, we'll move again onto the review of Register of Public Roads, proposed declaration of roads named Childer Street and Casino Street in Peterborough. I'll now call on our director, Ms Farrell. Thank you.
Thank you, through the Mayor. Thank you for that. So this report, councillors, is in relation to our overall review of the road management plan and road register, which is underway and has been for a number of months, and is a prescribed requirement under the Road Management Act in relation to the upcoming local government elections. So we need to have completed that task by 6 months within the election of the new councillors or October next year. So this is one of probably a number of reports that will come into council in terms of just tidying up the road register. So these 2 roads presented today are part of that process. The intention is that the road register is a dynamic document taking account of a number of considerations along the way in terms of shifting community expectations, changing technology and other factors. So the recommendations, while they are quite lengthy in the report, are basically just seeking council to endorse that first step in relation to both of these roads, to declare them as public highway, public use roads, and go out through a process for public notice on those. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Mead.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. So, Ms Farrell, these 2 roads, which are Childers Street and Casino Street,
Yes.
Peterborough, the occupants of those 2 roads, what they meant, what difference will they see practically of this potential change?
Thank you for your question, Councillor Mead, through the Mayor. So the roads, once we go through this entire process, and as I said, this is just the first step in terms of the public notice, is that they basically would become part of our road register. And so they would be entitled to maintenance and consideration under our conditions of road assessment that we undertake periodically for any then further upgrades that would come through council for decision. So at the moment we do some ad hoc maintenance to those roads, but they would actually become formally part of our register and part of our obligation around some of the maintenance that we do.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any further questions or discussion, please? Councillor, please.
Thank you. Ms Farrell, could you just explain to me again that 6-month period as far as, our annual reporting, or what was that about?
So the road register review and the review of the road management plan are requirements under the Road Management Act, and we need to have completed that process 6 months of the election of the new council or by October, whichever is later. So we have well and truly commenced the process already.
Yeah, thank you. So given that Childers Street and Casino Street, they would have holiday homes as well as full-time residents?
Yes, that's correct.
And they would get their mail delivery to Childers Street and Casino Street?
Yes.
Yeah, so it just seems common sense to formalise that, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
And sorry, and through the mayor, probably another factor along those same lines is also in terms of emergency access as well. So it formalises the roads in that regard as well.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any further questions or discussion before I seek a mover and seconder, please? Or does any councillor wish to speak against the motion? Right. Would somebody like to move the motion, please? Do we have a mover? Councillor Mead. Do we have a second, please? Councillor Lockett. Councillor Mead is mover of the motion, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, happy to move this motion as it is really a tidy up of something that ideally would have happened a while ago, but it's good to have this review and do it now. And also hopefully results in regular monitoring and upkeep and maintenance of these two roads once they're formally declared.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Lockett, a seconder, please.
Thank you, Mayor. No further need. We've had a good discussion about this one. A few times.
Thank you. Does any councillor wish to speak for, against, or refer to Councillor Mead as mover?
No need. Thanks, Mayor.
I'll put item number 2.7 to the vote. Those in favour for, against, carried 6-0. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 2.9, please. Wind Farm Community Engagement Committee Review. I've got a call on the Director of Environment, Economy and Place, Ms McNamara. Ms McNamara.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the community engagement committees were due for a review prior to the end of this current council term, as per a previous review that was carried out in 2021. The review included a survey of our CEC members and also councillors. And the report in front of you compiles the results of that review. We do have a recommendation for councillors to consider, and we are available to take any questions. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ms McNamara. Any questions or discussion on item 2.9, please? Any questions or discussion on item 2.9? If not, I'll seek a move and seconder of item 2.9, please. Councillor Mead.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to move the following motion, please. That having, this is how it reads, that having undertaken a review of the CECs, Council resolves to continue to facilitate and participate in wind farm community engagement committees with further review no later than 2 years.
Thank you. That is the alternate motion by Councillor Mead. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Lockett. Councillor Mead, would you like to speak for the motion, please?
Thanks, Mayor. Look, I thank all the CEC participants who were involved in the survey. We take on board their comments, and whilst at times, depending on the CEC, how effective they can be, the majority of the respondents were keen to see them continue. I have to admit, I have some views that the grantor of the permit nowadays, which is DECA, should have stronger involvement in what they do. Unfortunately, I can't see that eventuating. So in the meantime, I'm happy for us to basically carry on as we are.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Lockett, the seconder of the alternate motion, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Sometimes they can be tricky committees and we have lots of opinions that are represented on them, but we often talk about having a seat at the table. This is a direct way that the community can have seats at the table. So I think they're, very important committees. Often, a lot of the wind farms, they're at different stages and they have different complexities. So each CEC is very unique and different. So yeah, I think they serve an important function and we do need to, adapt and overcome as we go. So yeah, they still serve a purpose. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Does any councillor wish to speak for the alternate motion? Yes, councillor
Yeah.
Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Nod. Thank Councillor Cleese, Councillor Mead. Yeah, oh, well, we were part of this. For the alternate motion, because the one put forward is something that I just could not support. I'm a great believer in community consultation and the alternate motion that allows the CECs to continue in the present form, even if it means being reviewed within the next 2 years. New council coming forward, they need time to get their down at the table and find out what's going on. The CECs will be disbanded and it'll be, we'll be seeking new members and maybe old members want to renominate, all that sort of thing. And this will give us a little bit of breathing space. But from a councillor perspective, those of us that are renominated and hope to be re-elected can give a little bit of guidance going forward to any new councillors and give surety to the CECs that they won't be neglected and ignored.
Thank you, councillor Lucas. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion, the alternate motion? Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll be supporting this, but with some reservations. I think when you read this report, it's pretty clear that there are mixed views amongst both councillors and CEC members, community members. And that suggests to me that we could be doing a better job. It's not perfect. The model's not perfect. There are some problems with it. But rather than just, I guess, disband altogether, perhaps this gives us some breathing space to look at what's not working well and how we could better serve the needs of our community. Because I don't think any of us would disagree that community engagement is paramount. It's just how we do it and where we do it that matters. So it's certainly not about disregarding community engagement. That's crucial, but it's how we do it. And maybe we could be doing it even better. So I will support today's motion.
Thank you, councillor Foster. Any further councillors wish to speak for the alternate motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the alternate motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Mead as mover of the alternate motion. Councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, look, as I said, I'll just encourage the actual authority for the wind farm, those who grant the permit and set conditions, DECA to have a stronger involvement, and would certainly welcome that. And well done to our team within our energy department who look after the CECs, do a great job with a varied membership.
Thank you, councillor Mead. I'll put item number 2.9 to the vote. Those in favour 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item number 2.10, major energy generation facilities, policy and procedures. Ms McNamara again, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillors, the major energy generation facilities policy has been developed in response to the new process that includes the Minister for Planning being the responsible authority for major energy projects. The policy provides a mechanism or a way to provide a submission on behalf of council to the department, to the minister as a stakeholder within the time frame that we've been provided. Officers do their best to understand what the community sentiments are, to relay that through. However, there is always opportunity to further understand that, to include within our submissions. The recommendation also includes the ability for the Chief Executive Officer to approve those submissions where the time doesn't allow for us to bring it into council beforehand, which we will always do if we can. The recommendation is there for councillors to determine, and we open up for questions.
Thank you, Ms McNamara. Any questions or councillor Gleeson?
Thanks, Mayor. Ms McNamara, you mentioned timing and, we talk about community consultation. What might be an example where we don't have time to go out for community consultation?
Through you, Mayor, with the process that the Minister for Planning will undertake, it's like a planning application that we have where the 14-day time frame is usually undertaken for objections or submissions to be put in to the minister or the department. Sometimes that might not coincide with the council's meeting schedule and cycle. But at all times we will endeavour to engage council where we can for that consideration.
Is there an opportunity to explain to the thousands of viewers today why things have changed? So you're talking about timing. You know, the minister has now imposed on us, you know, I'm in charge and this is how we do it. So could you just explain that? It just seems a little bit unrealistic that we get an application, we've got 14 days to respond to it. And as Councillor Dukas is, you know, we want to go to the community. It's almost as though we've been denied that opportunity.
Through you, Mayor, the council in this process that is now part of, you know, the Minister for Planning's responsible. Council are a stakeholder like the community. However, we have that additional responsibility of representing community's views. The 14-day timeframe is a statutory timeframe, and the minister would consider all submissions received within that timeframe. We would try and understand what the other community members' objections or submissions might be about, so that we may reflect that as well.
So just to follow up, the comfort that I have in allowing the CEO to get through these policies to act on behalf of the Shire is the fact that we've got 25 years knowledge. And over the last 4 years, our officers and particularly our energy team have really worked really hard to listen to the concerns from the ratepayers, those that are affected by wind farms. So I'm comforted by that fact. I'm just disappointed that a minister could say, well, I had a council meeting last week, let's ping this one on them. So they haven't got a time to have a meeting to respond to it. So I think that's really not good. So thanks for your work.
Thanks, Councillor Gleeson. Any further questions or discussion, please? Councillor Love.
Thanks, Mayor, through you. On page 1 of the document, which is page 261 of the overall document, agenda, sorry. It says this includes renewable energy and non-renewable energy facilities such as wind, solar, pumped hydro, gas, waste energy. Should it include wave energy as well? Because I know we've got that Deacon project. Sorry, I didn't pick it up earlier, but
Ms. McNamara.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lockett. We could definitely include that. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Any further questions or discussion?
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you,
Councillor
Mr. Mayor.
Lucas.
I'm not happy. Not happy at all. In the report, it talks about this process does not provide for community consultation. Well, that really gets up me. The community, they know more about it than we do. Even if their officers have been there forever and a day, every project is different and every community is different. So, you know, saying that there's no time, and in the recommendation, there's nothing that says we as councillors will get a copy of the submission before the CEO signs off. In the past we have, but what surety have I got that we'll get a copy before the CEO signs off?
Ms. McNamara.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Dukas. We can definitely include that as part of that process.
I think it's imperative because CEO shouldn't sign anything that, especially a submission, if the councillors haven't read it and agrees with it. That's just, you just don't do that. And another question is, I read where the minister says he will forward on to us the submissions he receives during that 2-week submission period. So that'll come back to us for, I suppose, review, reading, etc. If there's 2 weeks from the start, then the minister gets it and he sends it back to us. What sort of time frame do we have from the day we receive it to when we have to put in an addendum to the submission, if that's the right word?
Ms. McNamara.
Through you, Mayor. I think that's the time constraint that we're facing, and it would depend on when we receive those documents, but we would definitely liaise with the department if there were any further submission.
So we get the 14 days to put our submission in. There's minister does his thing, sends it back to us, gives us X amount of time. Surely through that period of time, whether it's 4 weeks or 5, we'd have enough time to consult with the community. And I think that should be in there somewhere. Even if it's after we receive the submissions back. Shouldn't make any difference. Or while we're waiting for it, there's still time to consult. And I think that we should consult with the community. Get them in a room, do whatever needs to be done. But you just can't leave them high and dry.
Thank you, councillor Dukas. Councillor Gleeson.
In relation to Councillor Dugas' concerns, maybe Ms McNamara could reiterate that we're a stakeholder and we're given 14 days to respond. The report Councillor Dugas is no community consultation. Could you qualify that for me?
Ms McNamara.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Yes, we are a stakeholder. We will endeavour to represent the community on behalf of councillors and liaise as much as we can. This policy is in the event that we are unable to do that because of time constraints, but we will endeavour to consult as much as possible.
Well, thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, no follow-up. I can't get the time constraints issue across. If there's 2 weeks to get our submission, the council submission into the minister, and the people can put their submissions in, he's going to take X amount of time to go through them. And he's, in this report says they will forward those submissions back to council. Right, so there's got to be 4 weeks at least. You're telling me that in that 4-week period, we can't consult with the community? That's rubbish. 4 weeks is more than enough time. And they're all alerted to what's going on, because I'm sure that everyone's going to have some input, whether they're for or against or indifferent. I still think that there is time.
Right, thanks, councillor Dukas. Councillor Foster.
Thanks, Mayor. Can I ask a clarifying question, please, Ms McNamara? It's 2 weeks, is it not? The window, we don't actually have 4 weeks.
Through you, Mayor, the statutory timeframe is 2 weeks. If there is any additional time provided, it is at the discretion of the minister and the department.
Thank you, councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. So, Ms McNamara, often these requests for submissions or open for submissions are also open to the general public.
Through you, Mayor, that's correct, yes.
So some of our ratepayers felt passionate about it, or if they didn't feel passionate about it, they could still send in a submission on their own thoughts.
Through you, Mayor, yes, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, councillor Dukas.
So 20 people send in a submission all along the same lines, right? Community people, and we send a submission in that's the opposite to theirs. What recourse have they got? We're meant to be representing the community, not representing ourselves with our own pet ideas on whether we love them or hate them or whatever.
So that maybe that's a fight you should take up with the minister.
I'd love to have a fight with the minister.
Ms McNamara, do you have a response to councillor Dukas's comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I think I've
Answer.
Thank you. Right, any further questions to Ms McNamara on item 2.10, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder, please. Do we have a mover? Councillor Foster. Do we have a seconder, please? Yeah, councillor Gleeson. Councillor Foster as mover of the motion, please.
Thanks, Mayor. I think if we were designing our own process, we would obviously allow time for pointy and deep engagement with the community. But this is not our process. We're merely a stakeholder in the state government's process. And what we're moving here today is just allows our CEO to be able to make submission in the event that the timing doesn't allow for us to come together, as I understand it. So the alternative to that is we put no submission in. So that would be a lost opportunity if we did miss out because of that timing. I don't think any other council in Australia would have the depth of understanding and knowledge around wind farms that Moyne Shire has. And I think this council has been very clear in its position around wind farms, and our executive team obviously right across that. So I think if it means the difference between making the deadline and not. I'd much rather we do it this way.
Thank you, councillor Foster. Councillor Gleeson, a seconder, please.
Thanks, Mayor. So this government, local governments like us, the ones that are closest to the people, are really not much more than an inconvenience in a lot of ways. So we know that it's all about fast tracking. So they keep changing the rules to suit themselves. And in doing so, take away a lot of the, for want of a better word, powers of local government. And I agree with you. For the last 4 years, we've been over and above going out for community consultation, for community feedback. So it's not us that are changing the rules here. The government is saying, oh, by the way, we've got an application in. We want to deal with it as quick as we can. We don't want to be hamstrung by your concerns or the concerns of your constituents. That's what they're saying to us. And that's not right, but that's what they're saying to us. So in light of the fact that there's a month between council meetings, it's important that the CEO has the power to respond on behalf of the community. And I'm with Councillor Dukas as far as the concerns ahead. I think it's poor taste, bitter pill, all of those things, because it's just another example of state government limiting local government, procedures, I guess. But for those reasons, we need to have a procedure in place, and I'm happy to support.
Thank you, councillor Gleeson. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion, please? Does any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not,
Mr Mayor.
sorry, councillor Dukas.
I've been deliberating over this a fair bit, but we've got to stick with the people on this. We do have enough time. We've got 2 weeks to put in our submission. It goes to the minister. Now, whatever time he takes is up to him. He's going to take more than a week. He'll take 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
A month,
And
3 months.
Whatever. But he said in this report that he will forward those submissions back to the Moyne Shire. So we can get those submissions. We can talk to the people in the meantime. We can even ask them to send the same submission into us so we can see what they've put into the minister. Because I'd like to know what the people are thinking. We put ours, the officers will put a submission in. I'm assured by Ms McNamara that we'll get a copy of that before it's sent off to the minister and before the CEO signs it. But there is still time from when that happens to when the minister makes the final decision or cuts off any consultation with the community. He might make a decision for months. And I don't see in this recommendation where the community gets their say with us. There's time to do it and there's ways to do it, and there's nothing in there. It just says, you've only got 2 weeks, the CEO needs to sign it, otherwise we miss out on the time frame. Goodbye. And to me, that's not good enough.
Right, thanks, councillor Dukas. Does any other councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Foster as mover, please.
Thanks, Mayor. And I hear what councillor Dukas says, but it presupposes we have another bite at the cherry later. And I think we are just an equal stakeholder. From what I've read, we're not special. We're just an equal stakeholder with our community. So I don't know that we'd have a chance to go back for a second time later.
Well, I think we're special.
Well, we are special.
Especially the people out there that have to,
So,
live in that community for whatever reason.
So just to reiterate, I think if this means the difference between having a say and not having a say, we need to be able to empower our CEO to do that. Hopefully that never happens. Hopefully we have time to properly engage. But if we don't, at least we'll get to have a say.
Thank you, councillor Foster. I will put item number 2.10 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, that is 5-1. 4 is councillor Lockett, Mead, Foster, Smith and Gleeson, and against is councillor Dukas. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item number 2.11.
Thanks, Mayor, just a potential conflicts.
Right, thank you, councillor Gleeson. Right, the request for roadside memorial, Winslow Roman Catholic Church. Again, I'll call on Director of Assets and Community, Ms Farrell. Thank you.
The Mayor. So this request, councillors, has been sought from Winslow residents, ex and current. looking to install a historical marker in the road reserve outside what was the former Roman Catholic Church in Duffy Street, Church Street. And they're seeking to lay the stone that was actually saved from when the building was demolished and affix a plaque to that describing the history of that building. So the request is in accordance with our plaques and memorials policy and has been considered in the context of its location within the road reserve. So there's no major obstructions for vehicle sightlines, etc. So the recommendation and report is seeking that council improve the installation as requested.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Right, any questions or discussion to Ms Farrell before I seek a move and second it, please? Any questions or discussion? If not, I'll seek a mover and a seconder to item number 2.11. We have a mover, please, Councillor Mead, and then seconded by Councillor Dukas. Councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, yeah, thanks for the community group who got involved with this, and I want to acknowledge the history of Winslow and the churches that were involved there. So, and it's obviously great foresight to save that bluestone back when it was demolished to put in, you know, nearly 20 years later. So,
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Dukas.
I'll reserve this.
Thank you. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Does any councillor wish to speak against it? If not, I'll refer to Councillor Mead as mover of item 2.11.
Thanks.
Sorry, Councillor.
Look, just to congratulate those responsible for going ahead with this marker. It's good to see that some marker is placed there in recognition of the church that was there, because we lose contact with where churches are and where they were, then we're going downhill fast.
Thanks, Councillor Dukas. Any councillor wish to speak against? If not, I'll refer to Councillor Mead as mover of item 2.11.
yeah, no, nothing further. Thanks,
Put
Mayor.
it to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 5-0. If you could advise Councillor Gleeson, please. Thank you. Again, we'll move on to item number 2.12, application for SS Karamba Memorial Plaque. Again, Ms Farrell, thank you.
Thank you, through the Mayor. So again, another request for a memorial plaque in relation to the SS Karamba. This has come from the Port Fairy Historical Society, who are requesting that council consider the installation of a memorial plaque to recognise the loss of the SS Karamba. The request is in accordance with the plaques and memorial policy, other than the suggested sizing of the plaque, but there's good rationale provided in the application in terms of a view that it should be reflect the same sizing as the casino sizing at which it's being proposed to be placed on the can there. So the group are actually seeking that council consider supporting this in the lead up to the 90th anniversary of the ship's loss, which is coming up on the 30th of November this year, and specifically to honour the 17 crew that were lost at sea as part of that Karamba storm, which was noted as one of the worst ever seen in Victoria. So the report is there for council consideration so that the group can go forward and enable them to achieve that before the anniversary later in the year.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any questions or discussion, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder of item number 2.12, application for the Karamba Memorial Plaque, please. Do we have a mover, please?
I was just checking. Councillor Gleeson have a question?
No,
Just open it.
Moved by Councillor Lockett. Seconded by Councillor Foster. Councillor Lockett, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, quite an interesting one. Wasn't aware of this, and I think it needs some good research. Quite interesting to note there was actually 3 of the crew that died on the that didn't die, that they survived the sinking of the SS Casino and actually passed away on this one. So I think it's quite fitting that will be on the same memorial. There was, you know, a linkage. There was only 2 years that this Belfast and Deloitte shipping navigation was a, you know, huge business back in the day, and this was their second ship, and both of them sank. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but that was the main mode of transport back in the early 1930s. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Councillor Foster, a seconder, please.
Thanks, Mayor. I think as with the previous item, anything that we can do to preserve history, I'm a total history nerd, so I love all this stuff. Anything we can do to commemorate and preserve history is a great thing. And in this case, 17 lives lost. So it's a story, as councillor Lockett said, I don't think many of us know. So this gives us a chance to talk about it and commemorate those lives.
Right, thank you. Any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Yeah,
Can I
councillor.
just add to the comments already made, but down at that King George Square, you know, that's the sort of centre of our, you know, our warfare, you know, shipping, our missing, all that down there, and a really popular little tourist spot. So anything that adds to that, and you talk about telling the story, you know, what a great way to say, let's go and find out about that, and to also recognise the loss of 17 lives is significant. So,
Thank you, councillor Gleeson. Any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Does any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I refer to councillor Lockett as mover, please.
No, thank
Right.
you. Please to the vote.
I'll put item number 2.12 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Again, we'll move on to item number 2.13, the Panmure Ash Wednesday Memorial. Ms Farrell again.
Through the Mayor. So this request has come in from some residents that have attended a memorial service previously in relation to the Ash Wednesday bushfire. So they're seeking, whilst there is actually a plaque at the site, which was erected back in 1988 by Warrnambool Council in the day and the Victorian Farmers Federation. It's quite respectful and descriptive of the events that occurred, the devastation, and generally speaks to the lives lost at that time. But the request that's come in is to have an additional plaque located there which specifies the individuals who lost their lives as part of that tragic event. So the recommendation before you is for consideration is that council approve the installation of the additional plaque subject to written consent being confirmed from the closest living relatives, which officers are currently just about wrapped up on, but not quite. So we thought it was opportune to bring it here today to provide that opportunity for it to be squared off before you go into caretaker.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any questions or discussion, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder as the officer recommendation, item 2.1. Oh, sorry, councillor Dukas.
Moving.
Oh, sorry, move it. Yep, moved by councillor Dukas. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Mead. Councillor Dukas.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Look,
Recommendations.
finally, we're starting to get some traction. We've reached out to the family members, etc., got responses back. It'll be a great addition to what's down there at Panmure. I mean, a lot of the community people are waiting for this to be, I suppose, screwed to the stone in recognition, because there was, even though what's there now tells the story, there are still relatives, you know, of people that lost their lives, and it was a horrific event, and this will bring some sort of closure to those that are either relatives of or friends of, and hopefully we can get that up again. I've got one question. Can that plaque be put up during caretaker mode?
Through the Mayor, believe so. I think the decision is made here today and then it just becomes an operational matter that we progress with.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Dukas. Councillor Mead, the second of the motion, please.
Thanks, Mayor, and yeah, thanks to the community member and councillor Dukas for pushing this along. Yes, a shocking event, and just want to pass on the condolences to the family. Still something that you never get over, obviously, in such a fashion. So yeah, I think it will be it's pertinent to recognise those who passed at that event.
Thank you, councillor Mead. Any councillor wish to speak against the motion, speak for the motion? Any councillors wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Dukas.
No need, Mayor.
I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Right, we'll move on to item 2.14. Moyne Health request for expanded use of the senior citizen centres. Ms Farrell again.
Thank you, through the Mayor. So this report is the culmination of some background work that's been done in terms of engaging with all the current users of the Koroit Senior Cit Centre and Port Fairy Senior Citizen Centre to ensure that the request from Moyne Health could be met and without too much disruption to other users. So we've gone through a period of consultation with all current users, as well as obviously Moyne Health. Moyne Health are seeking to expand their use of both of those facilities, and they also have requested that we consider some upgrades to the kitchens of both, which have also been welcomed by the other users of those sites. So the report before you is presenting a set of recommendations around the term of contract for Moyne Health, which is suggested at a 2x2x2 contract, and that it also acknowledges some historical anomalies with the use of those buildings in terms of a number of users who do have free use, and we've taken direction from council to ensure that that continues, even though it sits outside our fees and charges schedule. So it's just to acknowledge that. And also to seek the kitchen upgrades are referred to budget as variation. So the report is before you for consideration.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any question? Councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Just to clarify for those watching or listening, but Moyne Health is obviously not a Moyne Shire
Yes.
organisation. Who funds Moyne Health?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Mead, and through the Mayor. We often do get confused by the name alone in terms of Moyne, but Moyne Health is state government funded. However, they are offering services at both of those facilities that are actually catering for our local communities in terms of senior activities. So they run the Lighthouse program, which is like a social program for older people to keep connected and active. So yes, they are a separate entity to us.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Gleeson.
Thank you. Ms Farrell, so with probably the demise of the senior citizens operations, their card days and all those sort of things that used to be pretty significant in that hall, a lot of those would have been taken on by Moyne Health, given that our aged care is based here, etc.
Yes, thank you for your question. So through the Mayor, there is still an active senior citizens group at Koroit, and certainly they will still continue on in what is proposed, but you're absolutely right. The Port Fairy Senior Citizens Centre has fallen away for whatever reason, but Moyne Health have taken up that gap in provision in terms of activities for senior groups.
And just you mean, and I appreciate that, because that's really important that we provide that facility for them if that's what they're doing. And you mentioned some kitchen upgrades. You know, we've got a rental agreement, or about to put in place a rental agreement that'll cover kitchen upgrades over the period.
Yes, thank you for the question. So in our negotiations with Moyne Health, we actually had some evaluation done on the properties, and obviously we're not suggesting it's full commercial rental, but the rental amount will increase for Moyne Health and is considerate of the kitchen upgrade. So that is built in, if you like, to the fee that's proposed for them.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any further questions or discussion, please? If not, can I seek a mover and seconder to item number 2.14, please? Do we have a mover, please? Councillor Gleeson. A seconder, please. Thanks, Councillor Foster. Councillor Gleeson as mover.
Well, secondly, yeah, for all those things that I've just raised with Miss Farrell, we do have an elderly population, and up at Moyne and Belfast, the staff doing an amazing job. It's just awesome. And then coupled with that are the volunteers that drive the buses and do all these other great things to get the residents out. And given that it is a senior citizens club, it's great that we can make it available, but have it utilised as well. And I know there's other groups, but it's almost like it's being used for the intended purpose. And, if you go up and visit up there, that's where mum and dad sort of went to heaven, the people need that outing to look forward to. So good on us for having that facility and allowing them to use it. So happy to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Foster as seconder, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I think Moyne Health Services do a terrific job providing services for people who are active still in our community. So we're changing, the nature of ageing, I think, is changing enormously, and people are much more active than they used to be until a much more senior year than previously was the case. So I'm really pleased that Moyne Health Services can provide these services for us in the community, because if they didn't, who might do that? And I've been lucky enough to go up to the Lighthouse Lounge a few times, and a really dynamic, energised group of people who love coming together. There's lots of living in them, and we've got a facility, so let's make it available to them.
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Any councillor wish to speak for the officer recommendation? Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to speak and agree with the comments so far. I think it's really good points about positive ageing, and it's a slight detour, but Willie Nelson is 92 and he's got an album coming out in a couple of months. But I think in terms of positive ageing, the things that we think about with our ageing population is absolutely they can flourish. Mick Jagger's 80, he's still touring.
Marijuana cookies aren't allowed.
But at the senior citizen.
But what a great building. Where you have the Ryan's Corner Wind Farm meeting in there, it's a great building. It's jazz festival, lots of other uses for it as well. But you said Moyne Health and Croydon.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I was
Councillor Dukas.
trying to help my fellow and you have a drink. What was it again? Yes, I do support it 100%, especially the kitchen part, because those senior cits and the people from Manana are very good cooks. Just got to look at the CWA, they know how to cook. And this upgrade of the kitchen will be a huge benefit. Maybe they could have cooking classes by some of the senior, teach the young ones, especially the young, shouldn't say housewives or the young ladies or the young people who don't know how to cook. They talk about the cost of living. They all buy and take away and pre-prepared meals. Maybe a couple of classes to teach them how to put on the old lamb roast or the silver side. It'll be a great outcome. So I support it fully.
Thank you for your insight.
Cooking's not gendered, Mayor. I'd just like to point out.
Thank you, Councillor.
I didn't say what, so just.
You're alluding.
Any further councillor wish to speak for the officer recommendation? Sorry, Councillor Mead.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Thanks, Mayor. Just also that I think it's terrific as well to see it in full use and still be available to other groups to use at Port Fairy and Croyd as well. So that's what we want our buildings to be, very well utilised.
Thank you very much. So thanks, Councillor Mead. Any further councillor wish to speak for? Any councillor wish to speak against it? If not, I refer to councillor Gleeson.
Yes, absolutely no need, Mayor, that we've all given it our full endorsement.
Thank you, councillor Gleeson. I'll put the motion to the vote. Those in favour, 4, against 6-0. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item number 2.15, the Community Asset Committee term and reference and delegation. Again, Ms Farrell.
Thank you, through the mayor. So this report, councillors, the recommendation is really just to note, and there's a draft instrument of delegation there, but as we've discussed with you, we are still working through some of the anomalies and changes we need to make with these committees. The community asset committees, of which Moyne has 5 currently, they also align with the changes to or the forthcoming election and change over as part of that same process. So they will all be winding down and then starting back in December this year. So there's a table within the report that talks about the process from here in terms of acknowledging the great work that the committees have been undertaking, and then going through a public notice process to advertise for new representatives. But as part of that process, we are also looking at both the charter, the terms of reference, and the instrument of delegation, and just ensuring that we have those right, because we believe that they need some adjustment in terms of what we can reasonably delegate to those committees, and also to try and reduce some of the burden on those committees in terms of some of the maintenance and different obligations that have been put onto them. So we're going through that process at the moment.
Right, thanks, Ms Farrell. Any questions or discussion, please? Yeah, councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Ms Farrell, so just to clarify, obviously these are important committees, so I want to make sure though, if I support this, it's not going to put any extra burden. I mean, quite often with these committees, they're happy to do the odd maintenance here, because that might be more up their alley. One thing that does turn them off is more paperwork.
Yep.
So how are we looking in that regard?
Thank you for the question through the mayor. So this is, at this point in time, it is an information report, so you're not making any specific decision, but we also need to look at their responsibilities in terms of risk assessment and risk management. So, and we are really cognizant to the challenge to actually get people on these committees and to make it easy for people to participate. So we are taking that approach with the review of the requirements to really enable and support the committees, but also ensure that we're not putting council at risk in terms of anything that we're putting onto them to undertake. So fully appreciate what you're saying. We'll take that on board.
Right, thank you. Yeah, councillor Dukas, then councillor.
Thank you. Ms Farrell, the amount in the delegation or schedule is $10,000. Is that our amount, that figure, or is that set by the government?
That's a good question.
It used to be a lot higher.
I'll have to take that on notice, but as I said, this is just a draft instrument of delegation. Can't answer that one.
There used to be a figure in the Local Government Act.
Yeah.
Under this CEC, whatever they called it in the old days. It used to be a lot higher. So you take it on notice, as you say, it needs fine tuning.
Right, councillor Gleeson.
Thanks, Mayor. Re-endorse councillor Mead's comments, you know, about making things too hard for volunteers, because everything good that happens in the shop, nearly everything good, is on the back of the volunteers. As you know, for 4 years, we've been talking about equity and fairness. So, you know, if you follow down this path with, you know, your reference, etc., will that give you as officers a better understanding of, you know, what we contribute as councillors, and are we being fair to all across the Shire?
Thanks for the question through the mayor. So what we are intending, so this is a bigger body of work. The review of the terms of charter for the 5 CACs and the instrument of delegation that relates to those is the first step in that. There's a further piece of work that we are seeking to undertake on the back of this within the next couple of months, which is to start that process of looking at the equity and distribution of
That's a work.
support. Yes.
Thank you.
So that's absolutely on the cards for us to do next.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've just got a question or comment, Ms Farrell. Well, these are fantastic committees, the 5 in the Shire, looking after our assets and doing a great job facilitating these facilities. But just exceptions, conditions and limitations under which is not authorised, and that is for these committees to set fees. I realise that we have to have a set of fees, but I think there should be somewhere where we could have some flexibility, because sometimes groups come along wanting certain parts of the asset, and it would be very difficult to have a set of fees that just, and I think there should be some discretion given to these committees, maybe putting a maximum on them, but again, just making it easier and leaving these committees less vulnerable to, if they do something wrong. But anyway, great thing. Right, any further discussion or questions before I seek a mover and seconder? Yeah, Councillor Mead. We have a seconder, please. Councillor Foster. Councillor Mead.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Ms Farrell, for presenting this. Obviously, we're only noting, but just want to highlight the encouragement that councils have had to try and keep it as simple and as friction-free for the volunteers that do sit on these community asset committees. I've had the pleasure of being involved with Naranda for the last 8 years, and yeah, they've got representatives from football, cricket, netball, and just community ones as well, and
a few premierships.
And they've won a few memberships along the way, but yeah, thanks to the chairs of those committees over the years that have put their hand up to get involved. But obviously, with the election coming up, they'll have to renominate, which is the way it is, and we do really encourage people to renominate, not just for Naranda, but for all the 5 committees, because it is in a way linked to funding applications. You have to have a good operating committee there. So yeah, thank you everyone who's been involved, and those might choose to retire. Thanks for your service, but really encourage you to find a replacement and make sure we have strong operating volunteer committees across these 5.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Foster, a seconder, please.
Thanks, Mayor. I think it's really important to give those very hardworking volunteers a solid footing and wherever we can in terms of governance, because it's so fun. And I think, as Councillor Mead has said, we'll be looking for a new group of volunteers to come through. And I'll just flag now that perhaps the new council might like to consider how it adds value to the role of those people. Maybe it's more food. I don't know, less paperwork, more food. I'm not sure. We perhaps need cooking classes for men, women, and everybody else. Perhaps council will do this, but it is getting harder and harder. Our wind farm CECs, it's some of those, we have some vacancies. We can't recruit to those positions. So I think the council may need to acknowledge that and do something about it, and not just hope for the best. Just
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Yes, Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to agree with Councillor Foster and Councillor Mead, being on Southcan Park Committee a few years over the time, and what a phenomenal effort they do, but also the other committees like these as backbone volunteers, backbone of our community. They do an amazing job. So just a shout to all of them and really encourage them to apply again. It's often a bit of a thankless task, but I think Councillor Foster's got the key that maybe catering is the way forward.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wishing to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to Councillor Mead as mover of item 2.15.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I think we've said it, but thanks very much for everyone who's been involved for the last 4 years.
Thanks, Councillor Mead. I'll put item 2.15 to the vote. Those in favour, 4, against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Right, we'll move on again to a very popular one coming forward every year is the 24-25 Community Assistance Fund Round 1 grants. So again, Ms Farrell.
Thank you, through the Mayor. So this is, as you said, round 1 funding under the Community Assistance Fund, and a great program in terms of assisting community groups with a bit of a self-help and encouraging that collaboration with council and really collectively promoting health and wellbeing outcomes for the whole community in terms of the range of programs and projects that are funded under this scheme. We've had 28 applications deemed eligible in this round 1 funding. There was one that was not eligible, which was a Mortlake based one, but only in terms of just some other work that needs to be done to get that one up to ready, which is a design element around a history board for the pool. So that one will be encouraged to apply for the next round. So there's a total amount of 147,849 proposed in allocations, broken up across the under 3,000 scheme and the over 3,000. We have a balance of 54,600 left for round 2, which will come in about February in the new year. So the recommendation as per the report is for council to approve those funding amounts. The under 3,000 is obviously to note that in terms of that being under the delegation of the CEO, but basically to approve the applications in the above 3,000 and acknowledge the ones under 1,000 that will be allocated through the CEO endorsement.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any questions or discussion on this, please? Any discussion or questions? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder, please. Do we have a mover for item 2.16? We have a mover, please.
Yeah.
Councillor Dukas, do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Gleeson, sorry. Councillor Dukas is moving.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, like everyone has said, it's a great fund, and I congratulate all those organisations that have applied for funding and were successful. And I wish them all the best for the future.
Thank you, Councillor Dukas. Councillor Gleeson, the seconder, please.
Thanks, Mayor. We talk about investing in community, and this is a great way to do it. And the over 15,000's total is 110,000, and they're matched dollar for dollar. So that's a 220,000 investment back into the groups that have applied, which is, so that's serious skin in the game. That is serious. So that all those organisations have committed 110,000, which we've matched. So it's an awesome thing. It's a great thing the council does. Just a suggestion, to the officers, a lot of the applications for mowers and things like that, it'd be good to keep an eye on our own suppliers and things like that when we're turning over mowers, and perhaps notify the groups that might be looking to upgrade. So there's a bit of opportunity there, I think. But congratulations to all involved. Fantastic outcome.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Any discussion or questions? Any councillor wish to speak for this motion, please? Here, Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wonderful to see, and sometimes we may be critiqued for focusing on certain parts of the Shire. This funding in particular always has a great spread across the Shire. And Perth, Koroit, Ferry, Winslow, Macarthur, Hexham, that's just to name a few. There's always a really good spread across the Shire for this, so it's great to see. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Lockett. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to Councillor Dukas, mover of the motion, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just like to say thank you again to all those organisations, as Councillor Gleeson alluded, volunteers, the backbone of the community. We can't do enough for them. And as I said, good luck to them, and good luck to the round 2 applicants.
Thank you, Councillor Dukas. I'll put item 2.16 to the vote. Those in favour 4, Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. We'll move on to 2.17, public art policy and procedures. Ms Farrell again, please.
Thank you, through the mayor. So this policy, councillors, is relatively straightforward in that it's just a review of an existing policy that was due for renewal. It's had very little change to it other than just a reference to the project management framework in consideration of where we're gifted or maintaining public art. So the recommendation is that council adopt the policy and note the procedure being much more operational in nature.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any question? Oh, councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Question just regarding public art. If it is, say, an artwork or mural or post up, if you like, or a spray on, some type of art on a building which is owned by, a landlord or whoever, do they need to apply, or is that just they can do that their own kind of?
Do you mean like
So a building in town,
like putting on a mural or something?
Correct, on the side of a building.
There would be some regulations or approvals around that? No.
Really? I can stick that with me stroking.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion, Ms Farrell? Yeah, councillor Dukas.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Arts and Cultural Officer, do we have one?
Yes, so through the mayor, we have recently recruited for an arts and cultural officer, which I don't think we have an outcome on that yet, so I can't say who it is. But it was a position that was determined through the development of the arts and cultural strategy, and we undertook some work internally to just shift some of the deck chairs. So it's not new or costing council anything additional. It was an operational change to some positions that existed.
Was there a former arts and cultural person part-time? Did we do that with?
Through the mayor, we haven't had a former arts and cultural person. So we had a youth working role that by default picked up a lot of the focus on arts and culture, if that's who you think.
You know the person that passed away?
Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, through the mayor, Joe Grant.
Yes.
You're referring to was the Regional Arts Victoria regional manager, who each council across the neighbouring shires pay a annual contribution for that role, but it's much more regional focused. It's not directly one of our roles.
So that would be big boots to fill.
Well, that role has been filled by Regional Arts Victoria.
Okay, well, maybe we can get them here to tell us what they're doing.
So through the mayor, we actually work really closely with Regional Arts Victoria. We have the Southwest Creative Industry strategy that they led, and that has informed our local arts and cultural strategy. We work really closely with them.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any further questions or discussion, please? If not, I'll seek a mover and seconder of item 2.17, please. Yes, councillor Foster and councillor Lockett. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Like councillor Dukas, I have a love of the arts and culture, and I know that you do too, councillor Dukas.
I certainly do.
Although this doesn't offer any change or open up any new doors, perhaps it just again raises awareness of the fact that public art can happen. It's a thing, and hopefully it encourages more artists to consider it, to come forward, because it makes all of our communities richer, much richer, when we have public art in place.
Thank you, councillor Foster. Councillor Lockett as seconder, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar to councillor Foster, I think I'd love to see more public art in Moyne, and hopefully that happens in the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Does any councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to councillor Foster as mover of item 2.17.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
I'll put item 2.17 to the vote. Those in favour, 4. Against, carried 6-0. Thank you. Right. We'll move on to item 2.18, the Cooroomal Primary School sign. Ms Farrell again.
Thank you, through the mayor. So this request has come in for the installation of a sign, a historical marker sign and plaque on the location of the former Kurramuk Primary School. This application is in accordance with the Plaques and Memorials policy, and the recommendation to council is to approve the installation of the sign in accordance with that policy.
Thank you, Ms Farrell. Any questions or discussion, please? If not, do we have a mover and seconder of item 2.18, please? Councillor Gleeson. We have a seconder, please. Councillor.
Okay.
Councillor Gleeson as mover of item 2.18.
The Kurramuk State School having a reunion in October, and when this was mooted, they were met with, it's probably not going to fit our timeframes. It won't happen in this term, and some of us have had a gutful of hearing that sort of response. So I'm really pleased that officers took it to heart to say, well, how can we make this work? And so to you and your team, you got it there, you got it to this meeting, it's going to happen. There's people from all across Australia coming back for this reunion, and it'd be a little bit sad if we couldn't actually have permitted a sign, and so I will do it in November at the new council. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Dukas.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, a great outcome, and I know the people in the Kurramuk community.
Sorry.
It's all where it is. That didn't say anything.
It's fast scratch, Mayor. Yeah, get on the Hexham Road, then you chuck a lefty and go down to Maisie Ports and everything's there, so
As you were.
it's all good. And I'm sure it's a great reunion. I can still picture the school going past there in the good old days when, I won't say what you were allowed to do in the good old days, but gee, it was fun.
Thank you, Councillor Dukas. Any councillor wish to speak for? Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a shout out to Councillor Gleeson because he was very instrumental in helping navigate this situation occur. I know you don't want the kudos, but well done to you.
Detract from the other two things that I've done in the last 4 years.
Thank you. Right. Any other councillor wish to speak for the motion? Any councillor wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll refer to Councillor Dukas, Councillor Gleeson.
No, just to say, again, this has a lot of meaning for those people that attended the school that shut, way back. And I just wish them all the best for their reunion weekend. And I hope there's some great stories, great memories, and the fact that we've been able to do what we've done is an awesome outcome for them. So good luck to them all.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. I'll put item number 2.18 to the vote. Those in favour 4, against carried 6-0. Thank you. We'll now move on to item 3.1, please, which is Mayor and Councillor activities. Any question or discussion there, please? Nothing. Councillor notice of motion, none at the time of printing, and general matters. Councillor activities, general matters, please. Yeah, Councillor Lockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to highlight a couple of projects from the PMO that are starting. So the East Beach upgrades that's starting, today. It's Monday. So today that's looking to start today. Barbecue and shelters, expanded grassy areas, grassy knolls, I like to call them, and the toilet change. So fantastic, because that's been a long time coming. We've been working on that. And so congrats to the officers and good to see that happening. So bear with us as that our wonderful beach that we love to look at, that will be disturbed for a bit while it gets upgraded. So there is a fair few works happening in Port Fairy. So again, bear with us because I know you can go past and you see certain things as they're getting done. You're like, it's a bit grating to see, but bear with us because there is some good works happening also with the skate park. People have been asking, when's it happening? It's happening this week. It's starting to get work in terms of that's the Campbell Street works. We've got drainage works, money down the drain, one could say, car parks, that's all starting to happen. Curb and Channel, that'll be happening starting this week. So it's great to see those two projects have been a long time coming. They're starting on the last day of this council sitting. I think it's quite a good metaphor, actually. Also wanted to highlight something that didn't happen in our Shire, but big congratulations to Warrnambool City Council and all those who attended the one night stand, the Triple J, that was funded obviously by ABC. What a phenomenal event that was. It will inspire many Moyne Shire and beyond and regional residents. That was a phenomenal event. And also Warrnambool City Council had an event which was discussing about live music. So all local regional businesses that want to have music, they were talking about how you can have live music in any kind of venue. So that was something that, open up to Moyne Shire businesses to have, more live music in wherever it is. So for those businesses out there that want to have musicians in it, there's lots of musicians out there that want to play. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, councillor Lockett. Any other councillors with any general matters, please?
Miranda? Want to shout out the footy club and the netballers?
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, councillor Mead.
Yes, congratulations to Naranda Football Netball Club, who obviously Moyne Shire based rural club with not a huge population out there, won their third premiership in a row in the senior football and also in the senior netball as well. So great effort to them as a small sporting community. Great work. And also I was going to acknowledge former Mayor Bruce Couch, who was in the audience. He's just left. So, but anyway, thanks for his attendance today. Also, just like to add, I've decided not to re-nominate for council. So I just want to have a couple of quick words of thanks while I've got the floor in general matters. First of all, thanks to the council team over the 8 years that have done a great job, and a lot of them turn up. Vast majority turn up to do the best job they can for the ratepayers and council. So I'm not going to go into any individuals because it's been a hell of a lot to do a great job, and I think we need to appreciate them. The executive and fellow councillors I've worked with over the time, likewise. I mean, sometimes you can have some good heated discussions, but at the end of the day, get on with the job of trying to do the best we can and work closely with the executive and councillors to achieve that. Thanks to the community that have supported me and given me all sorts of feedback over the years. So thanks to them. But and as I mentioned earlier, but the volunteers, obviously from Garbock area, but so particularly like to thank those small towns, small rural areas that are quite often just like everyone else, but busy running their own farms and businesses, etc. Working off farm or whatever, and still get involved with the local community, whether it be the hall or the CFA or whatever it is. So that's the sort of thing that keeps the Shire ticking along. And lastly, just thanks to my wife, McCann, and the family for their support along the way. Couldn't have done it without their backing. So that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor Mead. Thank you. Any other general matters, please, councillor?
I'll just follow on from councillor Mead just for a moment. I won't be standing up. A couple of years ago, I wrote a paper or a letter to myself, and it was about serving the community versus being a councillor. And it was a real 50-50 for me. It was really interesting. But Daniel at the start said, being a councillor is a privilege, and it absolutely is. So to everybody that's putting their hand up, good on you. It's an absolute privilege. So it hasn't always been that enjoyable because, you have your blues and that. In here's the best part because we've got a really good council and we actually get stuff done. We make decisions. And that's been fantastic. Irrespective of your opinion, we get on with the job. So I've loved that. It's been a fantastic learning experience. But when I filled out the application for the next election, which I did, I just couldn't bring myself to ring up and make an appointment. So to me, that means if you're not in it, you're not in it. And that's why I made the decision. But I just want to wish everybody involved, particularly the new councillors, the new council, all the best. One of the things we don't do well, Councillor Mead may have alluded to some of that, phone calls and things and advice that he's been given. What we don't do well is try and remember and highlight to people, as you did today, what a fantastic place we live in. What fantastic facilities we've got. How good are our towns? That's what we should be telling people. You know, yeah, there's potholes, I get all that. But what a magnificent product we've got. So that's what we should be telling people. And that's why it's such a great place to live. And thanks to Brett for telling us that. Also to those that, you know, have offered advice along the way, it's a great opportunity to put your hand up. Things don't shut till noon tomorrow. So, you know, you've told us for 4 years how to do things. Put your hand up. Just in light of my decision, I serve community in a few other ways, and I've chosen to go back to do that. So there's nothing sinister. It just means that when I reflected on that letter which I read, I just feel that I can contribute more to our community by doing that. So thank you to everyone.
Right, thank you. Councillor Lockett.
If I could, just in light of those comments, just do a big thank you to the mayor, Councillor Smith for 8 years, and Councillor for 8 years, and Councillor Gleeson for 4 years. It's, you know, yeah, a difficult, a challenging, sometimes rewarding, not always rewarding task. And as you said, we, you know, bash and crash, but generally get along really well. We see that particularly with hiring of CEOs, council meetings. I think, you know, we cover a broad spectrum of political ideologies, but we can really reunite when we need to. There's been fires, there's been floods, there's been lots of, you know, difficult times. And the community are, you know, the wind in our sails, and sometimes, you know, that's what we hope to be to the community. So, as you said, you know, huge service. And Councillor Purcell, I'm not too sure if he's running or not, but, you know, wish him well as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lockett. Look, I'll jump in. I'm not running again. But look, this meeting here now concludes our last ordinary council meeting of this council. And I would sincerely like to thank all the councillors that I've had the honour to be dealing with over the last 2 terms. It's great camaraderie. We have our differences, but we move on. And just remember, we are always here for the good of the people. But also the staff have been terrific. You can always ask those difficult questions, and it's great. And it is good to work with them. It has been fantastic and great staff that we have in Moyne Shire. That is without doubt. Look, it's been a difficult 4 years. We've gone into COVID, out of COVID. But moving forward, I think we're handing over a very strong and financially and morally viable council to the new council. So I'd just like to thank all members of council and staff, fellow councillors for the work, and good luck to the new council coming forward. Thank you. Right, any further general matters? Urgent business, there was none at time of printing, so we'll move on to item 4, which is the CEO meeting schedule. Mr. Everstein.
Thank you, thank you, Mayor. So just highlight, I guess, some key activity. We've seen, as discussed earlier, the wrap up of the annual report, which will come through the next ordinary council meeting on the 15th of October. But I think really pleasingly, as highlighted there, some really sound numbers and financial control coming through and being carried forward, not just into the new financial year, but also for the new council term. Some really pleasing outcomes I'd like to just call out in terms of our efforts around planning. Ms. McNamara and her team are working hard on reviewing those processes. We do understand for applicants it can be a difficult process at times. We believe there's a number of things we can do to, I guess, make the process itself a little clearer through communication and a few other tactics. There are obviously a lot of requirements we need to work through together with applicants, but we look forward to some really good things moving forward on planning. Also like to shout out to Ms Farrell and her team on roadworks into the spring, and then of course the summer. A lot of that work will really pick up over the next few months. So really excited for ratepayers to see a lot of activity in the weeks and months ahead. We're very conscious of where those needs are, and we have people out and about every day to monitor and keep up to date with that. Also, to our open space team, we're really pleased with a lot of the feedback that came back in a positive way in our open spaces, our parks, our caravan parks and so forth. Really proud of that feedback that we've achieved. That really talks back to some of the comments about Moyne Shire and the great environment that it is. That's what we're working hard to protect and make even better moving forward. I've had a real opportunity in my first couple of months to attend some resident group meetings, including the likes of Peterborough and Panmure. I've really enjoyed those sessions. There's more to come with other groups around the Shire, but it's been great to see their energy, and we really look forward as a staff supporting not just the councillors, but also those groups and all the great work they're trying to do. And has been mentioned a few times today, you know, they are volunteers volunteering their time, and I think together we can do great things in the communities that they're supporting. A shout out to our early educators. It was Early Educator Day back on the 4th of September, and we really enjoyed acknowledging our 64 educators and the wonderful job they do looking after our youngest folks in the community every day, looking after them. We've also had some activity with some submissions that were done recently to VicRead and Plan Victoria. I think it was great to get some feedback on the quality of that work, and importantly the way it aligned with the views across the council at table. So some wonderful work by our staff in being able to achieve that. Lastly from me, it's been a really busy couple of months. Most of my time has been spent deliberately away from the desk, meeting as many people as possible in our community. There's a lot more of that to come. So, and not just in our community, but obviously our staff and where we operate. So I'm really pleased with being able to achieve a lot in that space in the first couple of months. That won't stop. So my I guess approach as CEO and with our executive team is to be out and about, to be visible, to be listening to our community, and working out how we continue to get better each day in what we do. So happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Everstein. Look, we have the CEO's activities report or any other general. Yes, Councillor Mead.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Everstein, there was a meeting on the 11th of September, which was the launch of the Labour Grammar School Refugee Pilot Program. Is there any opportunities there for Moyne to be involved with that, to try and address some of our labour shortages, not only around the Shire, but particularly on the council? And I'm thinking childcare, for an example there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Councillor Mead, for the question. Yeah, absolutely. So I attended with our ELT and some other officers that launch at Warrnambool City Council. So there was also representatives from Corangamite there as well, and that's very much the intent. So this program that just launched last week is very much the next step of those intentions about a year ago around this program. So there's absolutely opportunity to do that right across the Shire. We're aware of an event that was had in Warrnambool the next day, encouraging businesses to come in and understand what that program looks like. So a next step that we're following up on is what that will look like within Moyne itself. So to businesses out there and others looking for gaps with skilled workers, we really encourage them when that notification comes out for that event to come along and see what this opportunity offers. It's quite unique. And it has some great benefits that you'll hear about that program and what it can offer. Interestingly, they highlighted in that presentation that Australia's welcomed almost 1 million refugees since Federation, which is quite an interesting statistic.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion, Mr. Everstein, on the CEO activities report?
Yes,
Councillor Lucas.
probably for Miss Farrell, Vic Park Sport Lighting Koroit. Are the lights going in at Koroit the same as Port Fairy?
So let me check that for you. Can I take that on notice?
You can. And the information I was after earlier,
Yes.
shoot that all through to me, please. Thank you.
I'll put the response about the lights in.
Yes, please.
They are the same as the ones that,
Are they?
same lux.
Right, that's what we want. Got to get the lux
I'll
right.
put it in there.
Right, any further questions?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
councillor Lucas.
To do with Mortlake South Wind Farm, we received a email from Mr. Blaine talking about the noise report. Have any noise reports come to council?
Through you, Mayor. Thanks for raising the question, councillor Dukas. We will provide a formal response. We are aware of some further concerns and officers are making inquiries on those. But there is an issue that we understand is occurring and I'll take that on to respond to in due course, if that's okay.
Okay, so further on from that, noise, it's been commissioned. Noise reports were meant to be done. I'm assuming that there are no noise, any reports that have been done can't be taken as proper noise reports because they're still working on them. So the wind farm, every turbine is not operating properly. So my question to the CEO is, could he please find out where we stand with that? Because if they're part-assing about with fixing the turbines and the noise reports are meant to be done under the planning permit, where do we stand with that? Because I would have thought if the reports aren't in, that the wind farm should be turned off until such time as they've rectified all their issues and then can actually do a proper noise report.
Through me, yeah, thank you, councillor Dukas, for the question. Absolutely, we'll take that on notice and come back to councillors.
Thank you. Any further discussions on the CEO's activities report?
If I could just close out, thank you, Mayor. So just to finish off, on behalf of staff, I extend a very sincere thanks to the Mayor, Deputy Mayor and councillors as we arrive at the end of the current 4-year term. Your passion for the community is infectious and I trust that you're proud of many wonderful achievements throughout one of the most challenging terms on record, particularly with COVID. Thank you for your support and guidance and best wishes.
Thank you, Mr. Everstone. Right, this now concludes our ordinary council meeting. So I'd like to call for a motion to suspend standing orders to the confidential agenda. So we have moved by councillor Foster, seconded by councillor Lockett. Thank you. That is 6-0. Thank you.